Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out top 10 most important albums in rock history. Oh, right.
Timeless music, and innovative concepts.
Okay,
Welcome
yeah.
to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 most important albums in rock history.
So this is of all rock history, from any country, anybody, all of rock history. I predict Dark Side of the Moon, Sgt. Pepper, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Led Zeppelin 4? Maybe a Rolling Stones album? Exile on Main Street, maybe? We've stopped it here on Metallica, Master of Puppets. That could be in the top 10. I saw Velvet Underground just a moment ago. I'm not familiar with that album, the one with the banana on the front. Anyway, let's see who they say.
For this list, we're looking at rock albums that changed the face of music and influenced the world from beginning to end.
Okay. Oh, The
Since we're
Clash.
focusing specifically on innovative albums, we have excluded Elvis, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, and Robert Johnson, as they were more known for their singles rather than their albums.
Okay.
Number 10, OK Computer.
All right.
Radiohead.
Yeah, I love OK Computer. This was the thumbnail of the video, so I should have known this would be on the list. It's number 10.
Just as Britpop slowly drifted away and the digital age opened the door to a brave new world, Radiohead released an album that explored the themes of fear, melancholy, and insanity. While critics have praised the technical aspects of OK Computer, the visceral experience affected those anticipating a new way of life and others who simply needed something to identify with. Call it what you want, Radiohead's iconic album, along with their 2000s follow-up, Kid A, waved goodbye to the 20th century and ushered in a new style that would transform alternative rock.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, what an amazing band. They went from a grunge band into rock, techno, jazz. Beautiful melodies. There's definitely some sadness and some scary stuff in there. Not a lot of positive feelings I get from OK Computer, but positive in the sense of awe-inspiring, like that. Great. I agree with this. I love this album. Who's next? The Clash.
Number 9, London Calling. The Clash. In the mid to late 70s, punk rock was on fire, partially due to the release of the Ramones' self-titled album in 1976. Although that album is seen as a staple of punk rock, it was the Clash's London Calling that would have a greater influence on the genre. Incorporating countless reggae, rock, and jazz influences along with socially conscious lyrics, London Calling acknowledged a shift from rebellion to a post-punk awakening. To top it all off, the immensely popular album cover put a stamp on the package as the Clash launched to the US to spread their message and eclectic sound.
Yeah, this album has popped up on some lists before. And the album cover is a homage to an Elvis album. This one. Notice some similarities. And I think this photo is the bass player destroying his bass after a bad show. Oh, wow. During the rehearsals for the album, the band began by playing rockabilly, rock and roll, rhythm and blues, and reggae covers. That's a good way to get things going, Play some songs you already know. Take the weight off your songwriting, just get used to playing together again. Mick Jones composed and arranged much of the music, and Joe Strummer wrote most of the lyrics. Ah. Yeah.
Number 8, Nevermind. Nirvana. If glam rock was still cool in the 90s, it was only because this early grunge album hadn't dropped yet.
That's true.
There's no way Kurt Cobain and his Nirvana bandmates could have predicted the social impact of Nevermind, but their sobering and thrashing style was a musical magnet that reached a new generation of rockers fed up with the state of music. Despite the initial lukewarm reception, Nevermind exploded across America faster than hairbands could say leather pants or hairspray. As a result, alternative rock reached the masses, and Kurt Cobain became the unwilling king of the Seattle grunge scene.
Amazing album. Absolutely amazing. It sounds good. The songwriting is good. There's not much to not like about Nevermind. I do remember at the time, Nirvana was considered just another grunge band. They weren't considered this revolutionary thing at the time. But when Kurt Cobain opted out, that's what made them become the grunge, the top of the grunge. But before he died, they were just another one. They were great, don't get me wrong, but they were, on the same level. In terms of the press, they were on the same level as Pearl Jam or Soundgarden or something like that. But I love them. I agree with this. Great album. Beautifully done.
Number 7. Highway 61
Okay,
Revisited.
yeah.
Bob Dylan. Never trust someone who doesn't like Bob Dylan. This revolutionary album marked a shift from acoustic to electric and followed up the equally iconic album Bringing It All Back Home. Even before the release of Highway 61 Revisited, fans voraciously expressed their disdain with the change in sound, which was documented at Dylan's infamous Newport Folk Festival appearance.
Right.
But like all innovative minds, Bobby D had introduced something new, with even his album title referencing Dylan's musical journey from his folk roots to the new blues-inspired sound. Highway 61 Revisited combined sensational lyrics with some of the best musicians that Dylan could find, which made for a musical trip for the ages.
Yeah, what a great lyricist. He really took things to another level. He was a darling of the folk scene, acoustic guitars, bongos, maybe. And then he went to an electric guitar. That would be like Kanye West coming out with a banjo album. It would be like Taylor Swift coming out with a metal album. Great album, awesome songwriter, great lyrics. Some of the best lyrics ever written, probably on this album. Pet Sounds. Okay,
Number
okay,
6.
yeah.
Pet Sounds. The
Yeah.
Beach Boys. Before there was psychedelic rock, there was Pet Sounds. This melodic production, written entirely by Brian Wilson, has often been recognized one of rock's first concept albums and changed how people listen to music. The title came from the strange, yet brilliant sound design, while the lyrical content documented a man's journey through all the trials and tribulations of a relationship. Pet Sounds changed pop music forever, and many of today's artists, such as Radiohead and Animal Collective, cite the album as a major influence.
Hmm.
God only knows what music would be like if this album had never been released.
Yeah, what a wild album to put out at that time. People weren't really doing that yet with all the big orchestras. I take that back. Phil Spector was doing the Wall of Sound thing before this, years before this. And Brian Wilson was a big Phil Spector fan, or a fan of his productions anyway. So he used a lot of the same musicians, same recording studios to get that wall of sound, but he did it better. It sounds better than any Phil Spector thing. Brian Wilson's a genius. And this album does not sound like a rock band. It sounds like a singing group with an orchestra behind them. I also know that this album influenced the Beatles to make Revolver, and then Revolver influenced. No, is it the other way around? The Beatles made Revolver, and Revolver made Brian Wilson want to make Pet Sounds, and then Pet Sounds made the Beatles want to make Sgt. Pepper. I think that's how it worked out.
Number 5, Black Sabbath. Originally garnering extremely negative reviews from publications like The Village Voice, this pivotal record has now become identified with the birth of heavy metal. While Led Zeppelin and Jeff Beck were already melting faces off in the early 70s, a misfit group of Birmingham musicians rolled into a studio and knocked out a classic in one day.
One day?
Featuring influences from blues rock, the album has also been credited with giving birth to the stoner and goth rock genres. It wasn't cute or contrived. It was pure rock with a visit from some kind of musical devil.
I always forget about Black Sabbath, but they were hugely influential. I've not listened to this album all the way through. It was recorded in a single 12-hour session on October 16th, 1969. We just went in the studio and did it in a day. We played our live set, and that was it. We actually thought a whole day was quite a long time. Then off we went the next day to play 20 pounds in Switzerland. Okay, so just a few overdubs, like a guitar here and there, some percussion, some sound effects. So they recorded it in a day and then mixed it in a day. Beatles did their first album the same way. Wow! He began recording the album with a Fender Stratocaster, but one of the pickups malfunctioned and he had to switch to a Gibson SG. That's a huge difference in sound. A Stratocaster is like really zingy and thin, and a Gibson SG is really like beefy and wow, just from a mistake. Just from a malfunctioning pickup on the Stratocaster, he switched to a Gibson. That's a big difference. He changed the course of rock music. Ozzy Osbourne's voice is very unique too. It has an edge to it. Oh, oh,
Number 4, Are You Experienced? The Jimi
yeah.
Hendrix Experience.
I should have
This
known this would be
album
here.
knocked hippies on their ass and made conservative America pay attention to a new brand of music. While the style of Jimi Hendrix had evolved during the mid 60s, it was his collaboration with a band of British musicians that spawned one of rock's trippiest experiences. Hendrix wrote surrealistic lyrics of love and alien takeovers, while audiences gently wept as his extravagant guitar playing made everything disappear. The impressive thing about all of this is that Are You Experienced was Jimmy's debut album.
Yeah, that's crazy. True, that was his debut album, but he had been playing and performing for years before that. He was in Little Richard's band. He played with Curtis Mayfield. He played with Curtis Mayfield, and I think I read somewhere I think Curtis Mayfield was Jimi Hendrix's favorite guitarist. I might be wrong about that, but he was a big influence on him. And Jimi Hendrix made playing the guitar look so easy. It looked effortless, swinging it around, playing with his teeth. Even just in the footage we just saw, he's playing, and then he's like tuning the guitar as he's playing. I have to stop, push a pedal, ding, 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 ding. But he's going, makes it look so easy. Brilliant. So influential, too. I mean, he made guitar players almost quit because they couldn't fathom ever reaching his abilities. Pretty crazy. I saw an interview with Paul McCartney saying how he was in this club with just a few people in the audience. He was at the bar, and Jimi Hendrix and the Jimi Hendrix Experience were playing, and he was blown away. I mean, but there were 5 to 10 people in the audience. But then word got out, and the next weekend at the same club, suddenly the place is packed. Pretty crazy story. Anyway, yeah, amazing album. Oh, number 4? Number 4?
Number 3, Led Zeppelin 4. Led Zeppelin.
I got one.
After a folky third album and heavy criticism from rock journalists, Led Zeppelin did the unthinkable and dropped an album with no lettering on the cover album.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Probably the first to do that.
Musically, the 8-track composition produced classics like Black Dog, Rock and Roll, and of course, the timeless Stairway to Heaven.
Yes.
By combining folk with heavy metal, Led Zeppelin created a unique sound that stood on its own and promoted the idea of musicians taking major risks. Led Zeppelin 4 was the realization of medieval magic and musical madness.
I called it. What number is it? Number 3? Yeah, what a beautifully made album. It sounds good. The songs are good. The performances are good. The drum sounds, y'all. Oh, nice, dry, but present. I believe they recorded it in a mansion out in rural England somewhere. Recorded mostly in the country house Headley Grange. The song Black Dog was named after a black Labrador retriever which was found hanging around Headley Grange during recording. These are the grounds of Headley Grange. Right, where is Headley Grange? Give me a map. Oh, south of London. It's not that far from London. Okay. So it's not like they were way out there. They could still take a trip to London and get some city life. So I'm guessing Dark Side of the Moon and Sgt. Pepper are going to be the top 2.
Number 2, The Dark Side of the Moon.
Yes.
Pink Floyd. While bands like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin inspired headbanging in the early 70s, the introspective lyrics and exquisite sound design of The Dark Side of the Moon led stoners to spark one up, turn off the lights, and lose themselves for 45 minutes.
You don't have to be stoned to enjoy it.
Despite the departure of Syd Barrett, Pink Floyd managed to put together a progressive masterpiece with ingenious sound mixing and a little bit of patience. Most importantly, the themes of human detachment instantly connected with listeners. That wouldn't be it for influential Pink Floyd albums, however, as the band released another progressive rock classic with the 1979 release of The Wall.
Yep, Dark Side of the Moon. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I've never felt such a range of emotions from any other album. If you listen to it all the way through, totally sober, you feel joy, sadness, fear, like a lot of fear. Oh my God, so much fear. And you feel like your life is running out. You've wasted all this time. A lot of sadness, but also hope. Wide range of emotions. And it also sounds amazing. It sounds just absolutely beautiful. Way to go, Pink.
Before we unveil our top pick,
Master
here are a
Puppets.
few honorable mentions.
Yep, that's a good one. That's a good one. I wish it made the list. Yes! Rage Against the Machine gets me pumped. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. There was a time when I liked Appetite for Destruction, but now it feels a little cheesy, maybe? Exile on Main Street! That was one that I called. Okay. So it's not on the... I'm sure number one is Sgt. Pepper. If number one is not Sgt. Pepper, I'm throwing my computer across the room. And I'm going to break this camera. And I'm going to put this microphone somewhere it shouldn't be. Oh, okay. I've heard of this album, but I've not listened to it. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. Born to Run. All right. I love his guitar. He plays a Telecaster. It's a great guitar.
Number 1, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
I get to keep my computer and my camera and my microphone right here. Yo, yeah.
Once Paul
Celebrate.
McCartney heard Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, he knew the next Beatles album had to be something special. As a result, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band became one of the first art rock albums. By taking on alter egos for the production, the Beatles could explore unknown territories, experiment with sound design, and simply have fun. The final product stunned critics, and the lyrical double entendres were perfect for the blossoming counterculture that was taking over America.
Y'all, even Ringo had a hit.
The White Album and Abbey Road would come later, but this creative dynamo changed music more than any other piece of music.
Yeah.
So, do you agree with our selection?
Yes, I do. What a masterpiece. Oh my gosh. I get to keep my camera and my laptop and this microphone. I don't have to throw them away or destroy them. That's good news. I assume everyone watching has heard Sgt. Pepper. If you've not heard it, check out the newest remix because it's really good. I mean, I can understand the purest point of view of the original mix is the best mix and no other mix should be allowed, but it sounds good, y'all. It sounds better than the original. Anyway, I love the Beatles. They're the best. They're on top again. Here, more evidence. Wonderful. Yes, I agree with the list. Any on here that I don't think deserve to be on the list? No, I think all of these deserve to be on the list. Oasis did not make it, and that's a great thing. Hey, you know what? The top three were British. Well, you could argue top four. The Jimi Hendrix Experience had two British people in it. These bands are either American or British. We got a hold on this rock thing, right? Let's keep it up. Too bad rock music doesn't sell as well as it used to. Oh well. Anyway, great video. Thank y'all for watching this with me. Beatles win again. I'll see y'all next time. Later.